I've just released my new Python framework for Maya called Node. It is a free module that gives you the quickest way to build node networks for creature rigging, character rigging, and any other setup. It's object-oriented and very intuitive to work with. I'm Martin, and this is a brief overview of Node. So the best source of information about the project is its homepage, www.nodepy.org. Head over there and you'll be able to find links, including the link to the documentation page, repository, GitLab repository, where you'll be able to clone the code. You can also support the project. You can see there is a whole bunch of little snippets and comparison to Maya CMDS. The main power of Node is that it makes your code very easy to read, very easy to modify, very easy to update. And rather than writing lines of code just to create a node, create a utility node, to set its attribute inputs and outputs, all you have to do is just write a single line where you basically writing your math formula and telling what it should drive. In this very basic example is just a simple additive operation, but it does show you how many lines of code we're already saving here and how easy it is to read this versus that. It does get more interesting when we start using more operators than just simple built-ins. So before we head over to the documentation page, there is a few links out there in the top bar to the YouTube channel. I'll be posting more information about the project, the GitLab repository. So the documentation is automatically generated during the code deployment, which makes it very stable and up to date with the current stage of the project. There is an introduction section which explains on why the new framework was developed and what do you get by using it and its goals and the development stages. Installation is very simple. It's just a Python package, so you don't need any plugins. It does not require any compilation. Very easy to keep it up to date. There's a get started section here, which gives you a very good overview of the project and how to play with the nodes and with the channels and what the concept of operator is and what the concept of Maya NOD object is. There's a current API reference page here, as well as the examples where you'll be able to find some very useful snippets. So let's just quickly create a few joins and a couple locators and a transform node. And because everything is object-oriented, you expect to have a whole bunch of useful methods on every object, including rename and set parent and getting parents of objects, etc. The rename function is extended to get Python string replace syntax, so very useful for naming non-unique nodes. Accessing attributes, you can do it in two ways, whether using the dot property domain, or you can also write something like joined after and the name of the attributes, whether it's a custom attributes or node built-in attributes. You can obviously set attributes, set parent attribute, etc. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of information on that in the documentation, so just play with this and see how you go. Connecting channels, you do it with the double chevron operator. That's the syntax I borrowed from PyML. Very intuitive. Breaking connections. On top of connecting single channels, you can also connect things to multiple channels. So imagine just like in Node Graph Editor, your connections going outwards, basically showing you that now we'll be connecting these attributes to multiple channels and pairing outputs, disconnecting. You can do it in multiple ways. You can query node connections where this channel is connected to that channel in a very human readable way, just like you can see here. So channel operators. So if I now multiply this joint by 2, I immediately get a network created and connected for me. I can obviously do more operations in a single line. So in this case, I would multiply this channel by 2 and connect it right away to join to .tx. So let me just do that. That's what I would expect to get. So this is very easy formula. Obviously, it gets more interesting than this. You can stack up a lot of operators, including the built-ins and the operators coming from the node op module. You can even add an attribute, do the connections all in a single line. So it does get better with more operators in the op module, like clamp, absolute value, remap, blend, reverse condition. So to very quickly compare my CMDS versus node syntax, here's a whole bunch of lines that we would normally have to write to create a few operations using utility nodes in Maya. And here's an elegant way of doing the same thing in a single line. That's very easy to read. It's very easy to update or modify. It's very difficult to understand what this code is doing here, comparing to a formula that's written using NOD syntax, and when executed, both produce exactly the same results. Additionally, if I wanted to update anything here, change the order of things, it would take me quite a while to modify those input, output, the connections, find out what's going on. Versus here, if I wanted to modify that code within that formula, it's very easy to just change the operation type or remove something completely. Or if I wanted to drive the minimum value of the cloud node using it as some kind of a control attribute, I can just do that. I hope this quick overview makes you want to start experimenting with the project. Remember to sign up for all the latest updates.